Hi everyone. So today I have the pleasure of talking to you about a topic that I don't think people talk about as much as they should. And so to start, how many of you have seen a homeless person on the street, whether you're in a major city or not, and you don't know how to help them? Well, today I hope to address this problem and to provide some solutions. So, t today I have the great pleasure of talking to you about homelessness. So I found this interesting article about homelessness in the United States Health Affairs, and it was written by Cheyenne Garcia Kelly Duran and Margaret Cushel. And it says, on a single night in 2023, more than 653,000 people experience homelessness in the United States. So this shows that it is a huge problem that needs help. Also, right here, I got my handy little note cards. Sorry, I can't see them that well, but got some little note cards. So the first thing, so the first point I'm gonna make is I want to discuss what the problem is and why it is so important and detail some of the struggles that homeless people might encounter. So the four main points that I have today that I really want to address today are first, I want to inform people what homelessness is. I also want to tell people some of the struggles they might go through. And then I want to talk about some different solutions that might help them. And then we'll wrap it up. So here we go. So here's my first point. And I just want to bring awareness to homelessness. Honestly, I want to help. So first I want to discuss why this problem is so important. So to start, I have this quote, and it is any healthcare provider program for homelessness adults or homeless adults should expect that 25 to 40% of patients will suffer from serious alcohol or drug abuse problems. And this is from Fisher and Barkley, 1986. I think this is the one I had a little bit of trouble with, but so yeah, and it just shows that these people are dealing with a lot of problems, alcohol problems and drug-related problems. So the next quote I want to say, and I found this interesting from Breakthrough in Denver, of harms, Cost and Harms of Homelessness, written by Hannah Chisholm and Adam Reich. And the quote goes, without the stability of secure housing needs and the housing needed to appropriately address these individuals experiencing homelessness use mainstream services, including child welfare, hospitals, and agency healthcare services, criminal justice, and income supports to a than greater extent than stably housed community members. So it's very important, not just as a human being, but to help these people because they are using more resources than the people that are more fortunate than them, I would say. So I think that's a huge thing that we have to address is why, you know. So, um, my take on homelessness is it's a very important problem that needs addressing, and it's something that we shouldn't be looking at someone on the street and thinking, I can't help or I don't want to help, because we don't know what these people's circumstances are. And we don't have the right to judge. And it's important to make homelessness less of a problem. So the first quote I found from Country News talks about 10 strategies to end chronic homelessness. And here's the quote. If every individual experiencing or at risk is located and identified across a variety of settings and their progress in engagement in housing placement is tracked in real time, CNN Country 2025, and this was um, published in September 2023. So what this particular article goes on to talk about is we almost need to micromanage homelessness and homeless people. We need to keep track of what's going on so that, like I talked about before, when they have drug problems or alcohol related problems, that they don't fall back into the cycle. So we almost have to micromanage, track how they're doing. So the next quote I found was from the same article, and it really does make me think of something that can help ensuring that the outreach efforts. Wait, oh yeah. So the next quote, which I found, was from the same article, and it really does make me think that can help. And here's the quote. Ensuring that outreach efforts are comprehensive, covering a full geographic area and multiple settings within it, and coordinated across all teams of providers. So this quote is almost piggybacking. It's just giving a more detailed approach to what we need to do in that sense. So the next quote that I think is very important, so that we don't leave any stone unturned helping people, is that this. So we need to limit, and this is a quote, to limit the flow, our nation must confront the shortage of affordable housing for the nation's poorest household. And this was April 24th, 2025 when it was written. So pretty soon, or pretty soon, yeah. So this article shows before we can start addressing homelessness, we have to start by making housing more affordable for people that can't afford it in our nation. So I think if we're being honest, guys, homelessness is not going to get fixed overnight. But I think that these solutions that I provided can definitely help to make it a less of a problem. And these are a good start. We want a future where no one has to be homeless, where everyone can have safe housing and affordable housing, but that will take a while. So I think that the steps that I have addressed and shown might not be the best, but I think that they are good starting points toward a better future. So I'm hoping today the you as an audience will take from this presentation is to donate to homelessness, maybe only $1 or $2, but just when you see them on the street, acknowledge them. Try to give them a little help, say hi to them. So in conclusion, I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to hear my proposal and my different solutions for homelessness. There are a few things that we can do to help the homeless. We can at first acknowledge that there is a problem. We can also try to micromanage the homelessness by providing them resources and helping them to not fall back into the cycles. We can also make housing more affordable and less expensive, more less affordable or more affordable, sorry. These won't happen overnight, but what I'm trying to say is that we can start making a change slowly but surely.